All right, Susie, are you ready for this? Okay, so we are on, and I wanted to show you guys. This is my first video on my mods, and this is the dining table. I always wanted to show the actual sitting here. I'm very much of a lounger, so we'll talk about this kind of like thing that kind of happened here by mistake, but it has worked out really well. So I'm gonna start with this table. I removed the original table because I hated how small it was and how narrow it was, and I hated how high it was. So I redesigned the table, and I wanted something fun, so I wanted some color. So I've got, and I will show all the mods kind of all separately, but every mod that I've made, I have done it in bright yellow. It's actually a semi-transparent stain, because I like to show the grain of the wood. Oh, there's the fly. Go out of there. And so I wanted the stain to show the grain, and then I did polyurethane on the top. And the wood, I used 1/2 inch birch, Baltic birch, which for the table is a little thin. And Susie, if you want to show how much that thing flexes, pushing down. So it does have a little bit of flex. The hinges are these recessed hinges. And so there is not a lot of thickness there for the hinges. So it is a little bit thin. So I also had to cut, if you turn that table over again, Susie, I had to cut the screws and do a little bit of a Frankenstein job here. This whole table is a little bit of a Frankenstein. I did it in the winter before we came here, and I was very rushed. And I'm learning how to use a router. So it is not a perfect table, but I love the design. I love how it works, and we're really enjoying the function of it. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit. So if you open it, Susie, I'll start with that part. So basically the way it's constructed, it's these 3 hinges, and then it's routed in. Like I said, I'm not really good at it. I'm not a woodworker. I'm kind of learning all of this stuff. And then all the round corners are done with a jigsaw, including this part, which, believe it or not, it actually matches when it closes, so that the whole thing is basically one piece. And I didn't really think we were going to use this table closed, but we actually use it all the time because we like to have space in here and be able to move around. And so when it's closed, you get quite a bit of space. And then when it's open, it's quite big. So really love this mod. And if you guys want to follow along, we are going to go through and show the measurements, so that if you decide that you want to do something similar, we will have all the measurements. So stay tuned. All right, measurements for the table if somebody wants to build it. So the overall length of the table is 40.5 inches. And then overall width, in I guess the widest part, is 19 inches. And then this little inset here is like 15 3/4. And then the first section, it is roughly, I don't know, 25 1/4 for the first section. And then the flap here is about a little bit like 15 1/4. And then in the previous video, I'm not sure if I talked about this, but I also routed all the corners so that they're round. And I made this round in all of the things that I've built, so that you don't like catch them when you're like moving around. So it's kind of like a smooth edge. And I mean, I guess the whole camper is a little bit like that too. So this damn fly. So just makes it a little bit nicer for walking around. And I think that's about it on the measurements. Like I said, it's a half an inch ply. These screws are extremely short in here, so they probably don't have a ton of strength, and they don't look very pretty either, but they're working. They're holding the weight well enough to have a pretty heavy, we've had pretty heavy stuff in here and it's still holding it. What I did to make these holes a little bit stronger, I've added epoxy before I put the screws in. So the screws are screwed in, but also on epoxy to try to make the whole structure a little bit stronger. And then here, we love also this little area here because it's kind of like a place where things can go and they can kind of stay, you know, kind of more permanent. Like my soda stream, by the way, is secured by a Titan strap, and I will have a whole section on Titan straps because these things are amazing. And if you're not familiar with Titan straps, it's something that you really have to learn because it's the only way that you can secure something like this where it doesn't slide around and it doesn't rattle. And just one strap hold the whole thing. We're driving all the time with it and it doesn't move. And then I wanted to talk about the sitting area here. This was actually a dog bed that I built for my Revel. And in the Revel, I always sat this way because I don't like sitting like this. I feel like when you're sitting like this, it's just like, okay, here I am, you know, okay. And I like to be loungy and comfortable. And so the way I sit here, and I even eat like that, I take my shoes off and then I sit like this and then I put my feet here. And to me, that's just a more comfortable way of, like, you know, reading and lounging. I can put this here. Ah, you see all the dust that is kicking up? We need to do some cleaning. And then, you know, it's super comfortable. Oh, I can just sleep here. So anyway, and this creates a nice little, you know, armrest and super, super comfy. So this whole area has been really nice. And like I said, this was a dog bed that I have designed for the Revel, which actually works on the Ekko as well. And the way this thing is, and somehow it fit here. I removed the other pillow. It's a little bit short, but I will probably build this one specific for this. But basically what it is, it's like a piece of foam with like a 1/4 inch piece of plywood. So it's rigid, and it's actually not all the way through, but it's just to here, so that it gives, this used to be, it would go in the front seat of the Revel and it would jam into the glove box, and then my dogs had a platform and so they could actually be in the front. But I don't use that too much anymore just because they felt like the dogs would be a little bit vulnerable up there. I did have harnesses for them when they travel, but now I just have one dog on the seat and one dog on the floor when I'm driving by myself. But it became a great little tool for here because when you're sitting on it, it provides support at the edge here, so I can actually stretch out and be comfortable the way I like to be comfortable. Also, it's a place I like to look at waves from here, and so I sit there and I'll just watch waves go by, you know, every day. Love looking at waves and being comfortable. And these pillows, it's Amazon. I will put all the links on my description. Also, I will be talking about more mods in the van, so if you like what you're seeing, make sure to subscribe, like, comment. It's a new channel, so I would love for people to comment on it. And have I forgotten something?
I think you covered everything.
Covered everything. Maybe the no-name deer. We'll talk about no-name deer another time. We'll talk about that later. I am back. Of course I forgot something. So we are kind of learning all this, and I'll be doing a lot of this. Oh, I'm back because I forgot something. So I forgot something kind of important. The way I secure this is actually on the original frame for the original table. So I removed the original table, and Susie, if you film down below there, you can see the bracket of the original table. And this is kind of important, actually. Do this one here so people can see. It's just, I basically removed just the screws. I left the original table as was, so I can replace it when I sell the van. One important thing to know about this is that this will only function as a table this way. It will not do that, the bench sitting that you can do with the original table. Also, I got rid of the middle big table because it's too big, it's too heavy. I'm very concerned with weight on this Ekko, and that's also why I did 1/2 inch ply. Everything is in 1/2 inch ply because of weight. That big table that goes in here was so heavy and so clunky. I really didn't like it, and I felt like with this table you have the best of both worlds. It's very easy to use. It's just, it's very, very simple. And but if you decide to do this, be aware of the fact that you will not be able to do the other sitting arrangement. And Susie and I don't have any friends, so we don't care to have another person sleeping here. But you won't be able to have somebody sleeping in here because you can't do it with this table. So that is definitely something to take into consideration if you decide to do this. And I think now I finally got it all. All right.